Welcome back to The Authentic Advantage, the podcast where we explore the moments, mindsets, and decisions that help us become more of who we truly are. Today's guest helps people navigate one of the hardest and most important journeys we can take, the journey back to ourselves. She's a transformation expert who helps people rewire self-image, uncover subconscious patterns, and break free from the stories that keep them stuck. Whether her clients are entrepreneurs, artists, creatives, professionals, or people simply standing at a crossroads in life, her work focuses on helping them move through fear, trust themselves, and create lasting change from the inside out. Look, we live in a world that teaches us how to achieve, but not necessarily how to understand ourselves. Today's conversation is about identity, self-trust, emotional healing, and what happens when we stop becoming who others expect us to be and start becoming who we actually are. So please welcome Emily Hahn. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Angie. So good to be here.
So excited to have you here. So if anyone recognizes Emily from some of my pictures, her and I have been working together for a few months and partnering up with our coaching business. And we recently launched a successful women's event in downtown Los Angeles. It was an amazing experience. And what we did was we brought the whole business side, personal branding, visibility piece, and meshed it together with Emily's piece, which is vital, which is our mindset, right? And getting down to the root of everything. It was such a great event. I'm so happy to know you and so glad that you're here today.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. It was just, and I got really, really good feedback from people who were there, and they just felt really safe. They learned a lot, and it was so beautiful.
It really was. And we have a list now. So if you're interested in attending one of our future events, which we plan to put on monthly, we can add you to our VIP list. So excited about that. All right, Emily, tell us a little bit about you and your business before we dive into everything.
Yeah, of course. I've been in the coaching world since 2018, and I started Mindset with Em in 2022. So there was a lot of life things, a lot of, the world shut down for one, a
Yeah.
lot of things that came up, but officially started in 2022 after going through my own process. And I help people who really want to change, who are ready and have kind of got to that point in their life where they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're tired of life feeling like it's on repeat. They might be aware of some things that they need to work on, some habits or tendencies, but it's still surface and they're still doing the behavior, but they're not sure how to actually change it. And I kind of talk about like therapy, it is similar to therapy. I do work one-on-one with people like virtually in sessions. I also work in person as well, but it's not just talking about the problem over and over and rehashing like, hey, my family or whatever, like this happened to me. It's good. You need to talk about it. You need to be vulnerable. And if we keep rehashing the same stories, they're going to keep repeating. So how do I actually
Absolutely.
empower myself instead of stay stuck in that fear or shame or guilt?
I know you had recently shared that you were in a really bad car accident, and that really kind of triggered you into becoming a different person. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So I was working with Bob Proctor's company, Proctor Gallagher Institute, mindset training, coaching, like going to Canada, doing events. I was also overworking myself and I was like babysitting and dog walking and trying to build my business. So I was
That's
doing
the
way too
typical
much.
Angelino, right?
Yeah,
I was just
exactly.
talking to Sam about this. That's like the typical anything you need.
Yeah, anything. I can do it all. Like, and it's true. Like I can. But also, there needs to be some boundaries because I
Yeah.
hit burnout hard, so hard that God literally was like, "Stop. Like you're gonna get pushed
Forced you.
into this." And yeah, I was skateboarding across the street and someone ran a red light and they hit me with their car, and it was a very life-changing, experience, obviously, very scary, but at the same time, I made a decision in the hospital that this is happening for me. I don't
Hmm.
know why. I don't know what's going to happen. This is happening for me. I'm making that decision. And luckily I had support. I had the people around me, my mom flew in right away and I had to slow down. I had to learn how to slow down and heal myself and love myself even as this person that, all right, well, I'm really going to have to slow down. I'm going to celebrate that I can maybe take a step or that
Yeah.
I can, stand up for a few minutes, and those little baby steps grow over time, but it really showed me how to be patient with myself, how to ask for help. I mean, there's so many lessons that I learned within that. So
Well,
I would
yeah,
not.
tragedy creates growth. It's crazy how that works. And it gives you perspective, like you said, the little things now that you didn't think about before, the little baby steps.
Mhm.
And I admire your story because I feel like a lot of us can relate to that. You talked a lot about how your body was before physically and being able to be mobile and go to yoga and how that drastically changed afterwards. So like it wasn't just, mentally and emotionally probably one of the hardest, but
Mm.
it ties into physically too. You're looking at yourself and you want to be able to do all the things that you used to do and you can't. And you can now, right? And it's taken time, but it's definitely admirable to watch you. Now that I get to work with you, very fortunate to see you transform other people. What I want to know, I'm going to start with a big one, but you help people discover who they are versus who they've been told they are. So, how do you know when you're living from conditioning instead of authenticity?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. It does take that slowing down and, like, really evaluating your life and where you're at in different areas of life, but how I figured it out, I guess, is, like, I realized, "Oh, I'm an empath." Like, I absorb a lot of energy, and a lot of this stuff isn't actually mine. Like, I might be feeling upset or kinda grumpy or irritated, but that's because someone else around me might be feeling that. So, navigating my own emotions instead of just, like, "Oh, yeah, like, my parents told me to do that, so that's right." Like, I was very lucky. I have very loving, amazing support. My parents are both they're together, I have a big brother, like, I'm very, very supported, and they want what's best for me, right? So I listened. But then I started to, again, be like, "Well, is this really what I want?" And I started to feel like, there has to be more than just waking up every day, going to work, coming home, taking a shower, eat some food, and go to sleep. Like, it just felt like I did all the things. I went to college, I got a good job, I had friends, and I'm still like, there's something missing, and there's it just still feels like surface level. And looking into also patterns within my family, like, how does my grandmother treat my mom, and how does my mom treat me? And, like, an example I'll give, like, my mom sometimes gets really anxious, not sometimes, always gets really anxious at the airport. Like, it's this, like, whole thing, and it's because you have to plan, and you have to have the tickets, and there's so many people around, and it's just, I have to get on my plane on time. So I don't wanna take that on, right? Like, that's not necessarily mine, or my anxiety. I get to evaluate that for myself. So seeing the
Yeah.
patterns in the people around you is good, and just
So it's like really
realizing.
taking a moment to reflect, like, well, several moments, but and
Yeah.
listening to yourself. 'Cause
Yeah.
you have that little voice inside of you. Like you said earlier, is there more? If you're asking yourself, "Is there more to life?" That's probably a key indicator, right?
Yeah, and, like, I remember being in spaces where I was, surrounded by friends, and I'm just kinda sitting there like, "Hmm, I don't even think they notice if I was gone."
Mm.
Like, I don't really feel the connection. I don't really feel I go out and party with these people, we have a good time, but, like, I want more. There's
Yeah.
there's more to life, and I don't feel connected. So if you feel disconnected, if it's forceful, if it's like, "Oh, I have to make this work," that to me is more conditional, than following what feels good for yourself and knowing yourself.
Absolutely, and who you surround yourself is really important. But yeah, I remember feeling that disconnect feeling too, which means maybe you've outgrown them.
Mhm.
And So you and I, we've talked a lot about self-image. How much of what we achieve in our life is determined by how we see ourselves?
I feel like it's honestly like everything. If you don't believe that you can do something, you won't do it. And yeah, like other people can encourage you, but at the end of the day, if you really don't trust yourself and have that belief or image that, okay, yeah, I can own my own business or I can do hard things. Like, I mean, owning a business can be really challenging or even being in a relationship or being a mom. Like I'm able to do these things, but if you don't believe it truly, like those beliefs and that self-image is going to almost be like a thermometer, like that's where you're at, that's your level. So that's why I help people shift their self-image and look at all the things that is actually true. Not, oh, well, my mom told me that, it's important for me. Even this just popped in my head, but like we were talking about finishing your food. Like you have to finish your entire
Oh my
plate,
God, yeah.
you
Yep, I
know?
was in that same.
And it's like, okay, well, I get it. Like you want to be a good eater, you want to eat nutrients, but I also don't want to overeat. So that self-image of like, oh, well, I need to be a good girl and listen to mom and like be, a good eater, whatever, can trickle out later into life to, oh, why am I overweight? Why am I overeating? Why am I feeling bloated or have like issues in my gut? So it's not, it's like maybe worked for a part of our life, but now it's not sustainable. And
Yeah. Well, it goes back to that conditioning piece. Like, who are you outside of the conditioning? Yeah.
yeah.
I had this conversation with someone not too long ago, with the overeating. We grew up in that same household. Okay, if you're a
Mhm.
millennial, okay, maybe there's other generations, but if you didn't eat the food on your plate, they were talking about some kid in Africa starving.
Yep.
Okay, and it was like,
Oh.
you need to eat all your food because of that. But it's true because I found myself later when I was struggling with my weight and food, issues. That yeah, I felt like I had to finish my plate even when I was full because I was conditioned to always eat everything on my plate. And so, yeah, it's just funny that you brought that up because it's the little things that we don't even realize down to that. Or another good example would be you get hurt and I'm a mom, I do this, okay? But you get hurt and so what do you wanna do for your child when they get hurt and they scrape their knee? You wanna make them feel better, and so I'll offer them like, "Oh my god, are you okay? Do you want a piece of candy or do you want something?" And, like, so then they associate and even though I know this, I still do it, I'm trying to find a new tactic, but, like, they associate, like, "Okay, I get hurt, I can go get myself something sweet to make myself feel better." And that can even turn into, like, emotional pain later on, right? So these are very
Mhm.
great points. Moving over to when we're, living life and we're maybe going through some of these transitions, what's the difference between being confident and then self trust?
Mm.
And also, which one matters more in your opinion?
They're both really important. I feel like self-trust is deeper than confidence. Like confidence is like, okay, you can be confident in what you're talking about and like you can be confident about the conditioning, but until you have that deep self-trust of like, ooh, I've made some mistakes. I've had to learn from these lessons or these mistakes, but I trust myself because I've learned and I'm not attached to like an outcome. I trust me and I trust God, source, universe to support me in whatever I'm doing. But having that deep almost it's a knowing when you trust yourself. It's a guttural like physical even and also energetic, but like it's a knowing like I got this. And confidence is yes, like I trust myself. Yes, I'm able to maybe speak to these things or show my gifts or teach people things. But if you don't trust yourself, like I don't know if you can be confident, but it's it might be about something that isn't fully in alignment with yourself. It might still be the conditioning. I feel like self-trust is deeper and it's a it's a relationship with yourself. It's that like even if I mess up, worst case scenario, I'm going to be good because if I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow from it. Hopefully the pathways there's going to be bumps in the road, right? But like hopefully it's a little less bumpy, but sometimes we take a really long way, but sometimes the long way is the scenic route. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm so glad I made that wrong turn. So it just
Yeah.
depends.
You're saying self-trust is more important. I agree with that. And because the confidence isn't always going to be there, but you want to be able to trust yourself in making those decisions. I kind of want to shift because Emily has all these amazing gifts, and I want to touch on a topic that isn't discussed enough, in my opinion. And I'm such a huge believer in it. There's a couple things that Emily does. So we're going to talk and touch a little bit on psychedelic medicine, but also EFT. So first, let's talk about the untraditional, natural medicines of the world. So Emily specializes in combo and holds combo ceremonies. I've seen them myself, some of the transformations. And personally, I have not tried that, but something very similar as far as natural medicines go is psilocybin. And I will say, I've tried so many different medications in my past. As a child specifically, right? I was on tons of different medications that I didn't want to be on, but even as an adult. And I'm not a huge fan of SSRI. And so I was just at rock bottom one year and I met some guy named Sticky in Venice who sold shrooms. And it's funny because I walked into his house, like imagine me, okay? This is a shroom guy who probably has everything else under the sun at his house. I come in with like a briefcase and my high heels, a mom of 3, a mom of 2 at the time. And I was like, okay, I know I'm like not your typical customer, but I need you to teach me everything there is to know about shrooms and microdosing and he actually sat there for like close to 2 hours and taught me everything I needed to know. And I obviously did my own research at home, but I will just leave you guys with this. The following 7 months, I created my own microdoses and I took the psilocybin every third day. And over time, I saw such a dramatic difference, mentally for my anxiety, my depression. I mean, my overall happiness changed. And it even helps with like addiction and tons of other things. So, huge believer in psychedelic medicine. I truly believe it's the future. It's already here, kind of like cannabis, but it's just making that slow roll. Not sure what your experience is with that, but I really want you to educate us on combo and what you offer there and how that kind of helps transform your clients.
Yeah, yeah. So I love mushrooms as well. I love the psychedelics. I think one thing with medicine that I've learned is like less is more. So the microdoses I love because you just take a little bit at a time and they like change their neural pathways and they're so powerful to help us create that relationship with self. Combo is very different. It does help connect to the body and it comes from a secretion from the frog in the Amazon, and they don't have any predators because if you eat this frog, you're gonna die. It's poison. So
Yeah.
they're like chilling, happy, they're just out living their best life in the Amazon. And so we get the medicine from a tribe in Peru, and it's comes all the way to Los Angeles, and just that in itself, like having access to it is so beautiful and powerful. But it is full of peptides. So I know peptides have been very like exciting, new. There's a lot like with synthetic peptides. We have some peptides in our body naturally, and they go in and they basically, if there's any like broken cells or kind of parts of the body with inflammation or anything that's going on in the body, it cleans it up. It's like really good for our body. And that is what combo is full of. It's full of peptides. It How you administer the medicine is you have to burn the skin. So you might have seen those little like gates. People have like dots on their skin, and you put the medicine directly onto the burn, and so it goes straight into the lymphatic system, and it's a cellular upgrade. It works very quickly. It is a purging medicine. So it's physical. Like if you have ulcers, if you have candida, if you have, gut issues, a lot of like physical issues, it's great for inflammation. Like yeah, it's very powerful.
Yes, purge, ladies and gentlemen, like from both ends.
Both
So,
ends. Oh
good
yeah.
morning.
And I've sat in ceremony myself probably 100 times at this point in my life. Like, I've sat so many times, whether it was like a lot or a little bit, every ceremony is different. But my goal isn't to make you purge. Sometimes purge comes out in tears or in sweat or in, it's not always like throwing up. And also it's very intentional. There's a dieta, so you eat a certain way, you eat really clean beforehand, no meat, no dairy, and then you fast the night before. So it's also showing you how your body feels without any stimulants, without any coffee, without any, things. And you're like, oh, wow, this is how, again, getting past the conditioning of, oh, I drink coffee every day. And it's like, oh, I can't do that. So
Yeah.
how do I actually feel in my body? And so leading up to ceremony, the medicine's already working with you. But then during, yeah, like if there's a point when they're like, I have to go to the bathroom, we go to the bathroom, the medicine comes off. But it's very quick. I'm not gonna have the medicine on you longer than 20 minutes. So the whole process, I give people 2 hours just to like come in and talk about your intention, if they want to sit with hape, which is another medicine, it's tobacco, like it's blown up the nose. If they want to do that, we can do that. But I give them 2 hours, but really the whole process lasts 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Like it's not
But what
very
can they
long.
expect like after doing a ceremony? What does combo do for somebody, I guess, psychologically or emotionally, spiritually?
Yes, it hits all of the ailments. So physically, it can clear like physical pain, physical issues, health issues, and it's very emotional, very energetic. So it touches on the energetic bodies as well. So if you're dealing with depression or anxiety, overwhelm, overthinking, people pleasing, overgiving, like these things that have been so ingrained, it's really good for purging out those strategies or habits or patterns that are just no longer serving you. And or if there's trauma in the body, it really helped me heal after my accident and also like connect back into my body and understand, yeah, like I'm not the same as I was. So I have to like rebuild this relationship with who I am now. And it's I actually just sat with the medicine this past week, a very small amount, and I felt like it's like all the noise, like we have so much going on up here, so we're not really fully in our body, but it was like it just dissipated all this noise, and I was able to like take this and move it down through and out the body. And then I went to the bathroom after and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I feel absolutely amazing." After ceremony, during, it's, you're purging, it's not comfortable, but when you move through the discomfort and the fear of like what's going to happen to me, and then on the other side of that, you feel clear, you feel grounded, you feel safe, you feel in your body, you feel like this weight that you've been carrying, like a backpack full of rocks, has
Yeah.
finally been lifted. So
I
it's
know
really
that feeling
powerful.
because even with mushrooms, as you know, it's very spiritual and it just connects you in so many different ways, like connection to self. I find with mushrooms specifically connection to Mother Earth, right? The
Mm.
sun, it's just crazy. Connection to music. And I assume it could be very similar. But moving like to the EFT portion, so you offer EFT as one of the many things, right? And again, if you come to Emily, it depends on your needs where she will create like a
Like a
transformation plan
protocol.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
EFT is a big part of that. And we did it in our workshop this past week. I've done it a couple times with Emily. But tell us a little bit about EFT that helps your clients too.
Yeah. So just one thing I wanted to say is that when you are able to work with like mushrooms, like you were saying with the earth and like we're the earth, we're animals, and so working with a frog as well connects you to the earth and back
Mm.
to what is real. Like we are all one. We are all the things that we need are here already.
Yeah. It gets rid of ego. It really
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as EFT, I've really loved combining both because in ceremony there's so much that happens. There's so much letting go and purging, and it can be physical and all these things. Integration. How do I take what I've learned and like these insights maybe that I've come to, and how do I actually integrate that into my life? Like people pleasing, for example, how do I start saying no? How do I start advocating for myself? And with EFT, when you're in those moments of like, I don't know what to do, I'm feeling really scared, I'm feeling really like in my head, EFT is a way outside of ceremony that all you need is yourself, all you need is your body, and you can literally tap and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm feeling scared. I don't want to do this." All these things, and you're letting your body know like, "Oh, okay, I'm not actually dying. Like I'm not actually getting chased by a tiger and about to get eaten right now. I might have just gotten like a stressful email or had a really like stressful day at work or whatever, and I need to just connect the thinking and what's going on up here to the body because the body
Yeah.
is going to listen to the mind."
Absolutely. And if you're ever in a stressful situation, it is something that you can do, in under a minute if you really needed to. In the show notes, we'll have Emily's information. And if you're interested, she has a whole guide and can educate you on EFT. But it really does make a difference when you can just sit there and you do the tapping. So you have it's the head and then underneath your eyes,
Well, the head
right?
first, and then you have your
Oh,
eyebrows,
yeah, the eyebrows,
and then you have the side eye right here.
side eye.
Then you go underneath your eyes and then to above the
I
lip.
skipped 2 steps.
It's okay. And then the chin, and then the heart, the side,
Yeah,
and the wrist. So
love it.
it's all based on Chinese medicine and acupuncture, and it empowers us to actually feel our emotions instead of pushing them away and ignoring them.
Why do you think so many of us spend our lives trying not to feel them?
Well, I mean, a lot of that is conditioning, men is like, don't cry, don't show your emotions, you have to be strong, like vulnerability is bad, it means you're weak, like that's all in
Yeah,
conditioning. And also people don't know like the process. They weren't taught how to feel, how to express themselves, like communication. We weren't really taught how to like reflect and be like, "Hey, this kind of hurt me." We At least how I was taught, it was like, "Okay, let's something happens, I'm upset about it, I'm gonna hold on to that, I'm gonna watch it repeat like 10 times, and then once it happens, I'm gonna freak out, but I didn't say anything in the beginning. But I'm just holding that anger, that anxiety, or, holding on to that emotion, and then it comes out, it bursts, or we just sweep it under the rug, pretend it doesn't exist. Yep. Everything's fine.
that's how I grew up. We don't want to ruffle any feathers,
Yeah.
right? It's like let's
Yeah.
just let it go.
Yeah, let's just pretend it doesn't exist, and you know what? Energy can't be created or destroyed, it can only be changed. So, that sweeping under the rug, you're just putting it in your fascia tissue, in the back of your subconscious. It's still secretly running the show of things
Yeah,
until you feel it, until you actually acknowledge, like, "Oh, yeah, like, I didn't like that, and that hurt my feelings, and that's valid," and, like, kinda wring out the gunk of the emotions. And yeah, if we don't know how we feel, our emotions are signals. They're telling us what to do, like what direction to go in. If I feel kind of, I don't know about this person, like I don't know what it is, but I don't know if I want to work with them. Listen to that
yeah. We
instead
got to
of
do a better
like,
job at listening for sure,
yeah,
to ourselves. Yeah,
yes, yes. And our like navigating the emotion is huge, and being able to have a process, because sometimes, yeah, like we can't just positively think our way into success. Like you have to be honest and you have to be real and authentic. And sometimes it doesn't feel good. Sometimes it's kind of hard to look back at the mistakes or the choices that we've made. But in the long run, and you go, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. Like at least I can
yeah.
see it so that I know what I don't want, so I can focus on what I do want. And it's just a game. It's life, Have fun with it, enjoy it, move through it.
What about when we're talking about like entrepreneurs and business owners? How does personal healing show up in someone's business results?
Well, you're like the magnet. You're the body, like the universe inside of us is attracting everything to us. So being able to navigate the emotions, being able to be honest with the emotions shows up in business relationships as well. Like if you're not able to say no in business relationships and
Oh,
you're just
boundaries.
constantly
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, I can do that for you. Yeah, yeah, yeah." And you're going to burn out. So that's not going to work long term. That's not sustainable. Not being able to put yourself out there like, oh, I'm too scared to make a video or talk about my business. Okay, well, how are people going to know what you're doing if you don't have the confidence to share from your heart? And if you don't know your heart, if you don't know what you actually love and are passionate about, how are you supposed to like help other people? And if you don't have a good relationship with self, if you're like, I don't really need to look at the past, I don't really need to work on myself, it's so surface level. And when you try to go make relationships with other people, it's going to be surface level. And are we really helping them at that level? Maybe, depending on what the product or service is. But my goal is that I want to be of service to the best of my ability and help with whatever I can. And if I don't have boundaries, I'm just going to try to pour into everybody all the time. But being able to have boundaries with myself, being able to realize, oh wait, I'm actually tired. Like I need to take a break. That's been part of the hardest thing for me to learn is when to stop and when to turn off, because we're just so conditioned to go all the time, 100% of the time, but it's not sustainable. And learning how like your relationship with yourself is going to affect your health, your marriage, your relationship with your business, money, like it's going to affect everything. And people get stuck. They're like, I don't know why this keeps repeating. I don't know why I keep attracting the same type of person or these same clients that are so hard to work with. And it's like, okay, well, bring it back to yourself. Look in the
Yeah,
mirror.
that's why.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
And it's easier said than done. We
of
know.
course, that's why we have guides. That's why we have
Yeah.
people to help.
And that's why we have Emily. And that's why, and great ending point right there, just because that's exactly why we put these events together. Because, the mindset portion is absolutely essential when it comes to business. Because, yeah, I can tell you to post all day long and here's the algorithm and here's what you need to do. But if you don't have the confidence behind it and you don't, feel like you can do it, you got to do that deep inner work. It's just as important for your business. But before we close out, I have a fun little game.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a statement that's like something people commonly say. And your job is to transform it into an upgraded belief. All right, I'm too old to start over.
Well, yeah, you're never too old to start over, and you can always try again. You can always make a new choice, but it's gonna come from you. Like you're the only one that could decide when, and I rather start now and have to do the work now than wait 10 years from now or 20 years from
Yeah.
now.
My answer would be like, who made up numbers anyway? They're just made up. Like
True.
before, we never even had ages. Okay. We created time, but we created it as humans. We also created age. So I would just put that age aside, put the number.
Oprah, I think, didn't become Oprah until she was like in her 40s. Like
And what Colonel Sanders was like 65 or something.
right. So age is just a number. It doesn't have anything to do with you, and
Time isn't, it's just, yeah,
it's a construct that we've created, and yeah,
for
it's
sure.
completely false. It's not linear. It's not linear like we think.
Okay. How about I always attract the wrong people?
Mm, I would say that I can't control it, and the right people are always going to align with what I have to say, what I have to offer. I'm going to let go of the people that don't get it. That's fine. It's totally okay. But the right people are going to align with me.
Well, I used to ask that question. I keep attracting the wrong people. But then another way to look at it too is those are the exact people that need to be in your life.
Mm,
You're considering them the wrong people, but maybe they're there to teach you a lesson. So they are the right people. I really don't think you're attracting the wrong people. The universe always puts the right people in the right time and place for you and for a reason, even if the outcome isn't what you want it to be. Okay, this is the last one. People are going to judge me. Yes, they are.
yep, they are. Yep, for sure. And also, like, what is it? They say, like, no, like, there's no bad press or there's no bad, like,
Yes, yes. Yeah.
in like information. Like, you're still getting yourself out there. And who cares? Okay. And
Yeah. Yeah.
like, If that okay, that's the worst thing that's gonna happen, people are gonna judge you, and I get it. Having, like, comments or if you're on social media, people can be ruthless, but, like, they're gonna judge you even if you're sitting at home doing nothing. Like, they're gonna judge you no matter what, so you might as well just do
Yeah,
something you like.
exactly. I agree. And it's all about perception. It's like that's just their opinion based on their belief system. Who cares?
Well, and now too, like, our attention span is, like, less than a goldfish, like, people forget. Like, if you post something
Yeah.
that's cringy, okay, people are gonna forget about it tomorrow, like, it's literally
But then
fine,
the right people are going to love it. So
and the
it's
right people are gonna
okay.
love it.
Okay, last thing. We're a little bit over, but there's just so much good stuff here. You talk about being a space holder, and I know that's really, really important in your practice. So, what does that mean for you and your clients?
Yes, I think learning how to hold space for yourself is just, like, such a beautiful skill, and I am not like, I'm just here to show you how to find the answers that are already within yourself. I'm not here to tell you what to do necessarily. I can give advice, I can guide, yes, but, like, I'm here to hold the space so that you can go into a vulnerable state and find those blocks, find those just salt moments that you decided, I'm not worthy, or I'm not going to speak up for myself. I'm not good enough. When did that start? And being a space holder is holding that safety, the vulnerability, not inputting my opinion or like, oh, you have to do it this way, or any judgment. It's a judgment free zone. If you need to cry, like throw up, go to the bathroom, whatever it is, like, I'm here. I'm not the medicine. I'm putting the medicine on you, and the medicine is the one that's doing all the work, and you're the one doing the work. You're the one in ceremony. I'm just here holding the space, making sure that you're safe, making sure that you are not alone. Because
Yeah.
it's hard and really scary to do things by ourselves, and I think that's part of our conditioning is that I have to do everything by myself, and it's not true. We are not meant to do it by ourselves. We're meant to be in community. We're meant to gather, and it takes a village, right? Like, to have a child, that didn't just come from nowhere. Like, to have a child and be loved by so many people and have, support with the mom and with the dad, like, that's what we're going back to, and holding that space, holding the safety, and just letting people do whatever they need to do. If they need to express themselves, if they need to talk things through so they can navigate their thoughts and understand, and then they hear, "Oh, yeah, like, this is how I actually feel." I'm just there
Yeah.
holding that container so that they can find the answer.
I feel like that's all we need sometimes is just somebody to hold space for us. So maybe it's something that we can all practice on our own a little bit when somebody comes to us or if we feel like somebody needs that. But where can people find you?
Yeah, all the social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook and LinkedIn. I do have a website, and I have like a link tree on my Instagram, so that has all my things in it where you can book with
What is your
me.
website?
It's called relationshipintelligencemethod.com.
Perfect.
And so you can look into that and see. I like talking to people, so if there's any questions or, just conversations, I'm always open to seeing how I can help, and if I can't help you, I'll send you to somebody who can. Like, I have a lot of resources. The conversation has just been so fun.
I love it. It's always fun conversating with you, and I'll have all of her information in the show notes, guys, so you can contact her. And it has been a very refreshing conversation. And it reminds us that transformation isn't always about adding more. Sometimes it's about removing the layers. So the expectations, the fears, the stories, the identities we've outgrown, and basically giving ourselves permission to become who we've been underneath all along. But before we wrap up, if listeners forget everything else we discussed today, what's the one thing that you'd want them to remember?
Mm. I think it's just you're more powerful than you've been told, and we get to empower ourselves, and there's so many ways to do that, and to be honest, like, you're gonna find that power when you start being honest with yourself.
Yep. Yep. We lie to ourselves a lot. So
We
that's
do.
something that I still practice. Am I telling myself the truth? Well,
Mhm.
Emily, thank you again. And thank you all for joining us for another episode of The Authentic Advantage. If today's conversation resonated with you, share it with someone who may be navigating change or questioning old patterns or learning to trust themselves again, as we are. And remember, the most powerful transformation isn't becoming someone else, it's becoming more fully yourself. And we'll see you next time.